Welcome back, beautiful tri-state area. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Welcome back to the Hydration with Heart segment brought to you by Once Upon a Coconut, the better for you hydration that gives back with purpose. They say you don't know who you are until you hit rock bottom. We've all heard that. And what you do next surely defines you. Now imagine being stranded in a foreign country during COVID, broke, uncertain, and scared. Most people would fight to survive, but one man decided to serve. That man is Aaron Murphy, the founder of Murphslife Foundation, a viral movement that began in a border town with a backpack and just about $200, and has since built schools, homes, women's shelters, and food farms across Central and South America. His story proves that sometimes rock bottom is the solid ground we need to build something extraordinary. Welcome to the show, superstar.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Welcome back. You've come such a long way. I couldn't be more proud.
Yeah, it's last 4 years we've gotten a few more farms and four more houses for our women's shelter. So it's been cool.
I mean, you are truly a humanitarian and content creator who transformed your personal hardship into something global, a global impact. And I really commend you because through Murph's Life Foundation, you've helped thousands of families, raised millions in grassroots donations. So let's talk about the turning point. So you've spoken openly about that rock bottom moment, the anxiety, the debt, the feeling that life had lost direction. And then came Ecuador. I recall you telling me the story vividly in our first interview. The border shutdowns and that you had just about $200 to your name. Now, most people would have folded. You decided to rebuild, and not just your own life. So what was that single moment of clarity that shifted you from survival to service and from that quote unquote self-doubt to purpose?
I think it was like during COVID, what was I, like 32 going on 33 years old, maybe like 32 years old. And I didn't have a college education. I was a club kid. I spent most, like, sometimes 5, 6 days out of the week in bars, nightclubs, music festivals. And so when I hit rock bottom before I started my travels, it's like debt, this pressure of, am I going to have a family? Am I going to be able to do something with my life? I don't want to go into my 40s, 50s, like working in nightclubs. And so once COVID hit and everything, like everyone was just stuck in their apartment, stuck in their house. So for me, it was like a switch in my brain of like, I'm free. Like the only way to explain it is I kind of felt like Aladdin and a little monkey just like running around. Like it was kind of like my Disney moment. I felt I loved being, stuck down here.
Yeah, that's the moment where most people would have given up, yet you turned it into your ignition point, and that takes a level of spiritual courage that money can't buy, and you're living proof. So I'm going to pivot to the family that changed everything, because I know there was one, and you've shared how that one family in Ecuador took you in when you had nothing. The act of kindness became the seed that eventually grew into Murph's life, right? So can
Yeah.
you take me back to that experience, being embraced by strangers when you had no resources, and how that single encounter redefined for you what community and humanity meant?
Yeah, it was. So I was staying in a little Airbnb right across the street, and it was pretty expensive. And like my money is just basically running out. And this little grandma would always be sitting on her porch outside and just like invite me to eat, invite me to dinner. And so I turned it down a couple times because I'm just like in my apartment trying to figure out like what I'm going to do with my life. And I mean, like living with her was the reason why I was able to express my to really feel joy during COVID. So one day I just went over there, I hung out, and the grandma was like, "You're sleeping in my bed. You're not gonna spend any more money on that Airbnb. I'm gonna sleep on the couch." And I was like, "No, like I can sleep on the couch if I stay here." And she just refused. So it was seeing like, and they knew I didn't have money. Like it wasn't like I had my page. They knew my situation. It was true love that the reason why I love Latin America is there's this true like sense of community. A true like people will invite you off the streets, like in Brazil and many other countries. It's like, I don't know you, but let's be friends. I'll invite you over for dinner. Come into my house, and that was like the first time that I really felt unconditional love without someone trying to get something out of me.
I just had a tearful, like a little, I held back tears because what you said touched me. You brought me back to that moment where you were able to feel that love and acceptance from a total stranger, and you really conveyed that beautifully. It's incredible how the ones with the least often give the most, and you've been paying that forward ever since.
Yeah.
Now, let's fast forward. You've since met your wife, beautiful, smart, talented, started a family, and continued building your mission. So, parenthood, without a doubt, changes perspective. I mean, it deepens empathy.
Yeah.
How did meeting your wife and becoming a dad transform your why? I mean, how does family life intersect with the intensity of leading a global humanitarian movement?
It changes quite a bit because it's no longer me in charge of my own ego. You know, my brain is like, I want to keep traveling, keep experiencing the world. And then my wife is like, we have a child, she needs to go to school, like we need stability. And that has been like a beautiful, like finally someone saying you need to calm down, stop moving so much and control your brain. That's always like pop, 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 pop. And it's like I'm right now I'm in the Amazon doing a 3-day water fast. I'm just coming out of it. And it's like having a child is, maybe we'd have to do a much longer podcast on this, but it's really like shown me how selfish that I've been in my life. And
Mm.
and even in charity, it's like, I'm trying to build these stable homes for all these people, but I'm not giving that to my own family, So it's showing a lot of inner wounds and inner, our children are our greatest teachers. And my wife has been a champion dealing with a wild horse like me.
Wow, that's deep, brother. I mean, listen, you really said what a lot of people are faced with day to day, whether you're in the Amazon fulfilling your mission and not tending to the family as much. There's men listening right now saying, I know what he's talking about. I get it. I see it. And the idea that fatherhood, you know, didn't slow your mission, but refined it is where we need to go with it, right? So let's talk about the entrepreneurship of your impact. So Murph's Life isn't charity, it's an ecosystem, right?
Yeah.
You've turned empathy into entrepreneurship and crowdfunding and digital storytelling and partnerships that really fuel sustainable change. So walk us through the mechanics. How did you build a self-sustaining fundraising model? How many families have you helped to date? And how do you balance authenticity with scalability on social media?
Yeah, so I mean, as I started the video, it was like, we raise money, here's some cash on the streets, here's some food, here's a free house. And I've just seen throughout the years how much damage it's caused a lot of families and how it's done absolutely nothing for the actual family. The videos though is anytime someone does a video and it goes really viral and it inspires another human watching that video to be charitable, then that video has done its purpose. It's been a
Right.
blessing for humanity. But I'm talking about the actual family receiving the blessing. Like I look back and I see some of the success stories, which is the first family that took me in. Like we built them an Airbnb, a beautiful Airbnb. We bought a semi truck for the son of the grandma, and until today they're working, they're making money every single month. It's sustainable. Their kids are going to a good school, the grandkids, and so that's always been on my mind. Like if I'm gonna do something, I want to make sure that we can set up a business that will help continue to bless these families as soon as we're gone.
And also, social media at its most evolved is really helping, not for vanity metrics, but for, like you said, for visible humanity, because those videos basically crowdsource compassion, right? That's what they do.
Yeah.
Now, why Latin America and what's next? So your focus, we spoke about this backstage, has been Central and South America, from El Salvador to Ecuador, areas really rich in culture but often underserved by international aid. Why those regions?
I mean, now that I have a child, before I would have said like, oh, we want to go to Asia, we want to go all over the world, but I have to think about my daughter. She's 3 now. I got to put her into a school, and I need to respect her childhood because my childhood was just travel, 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 and it wasn't with money. It was because my parents were in and out of work all the time. And so I want to try to be able to kind of break that cycle and give her a little bit more stability. Why these two countries? El Salvador is the safest country, one of the safest countries in the world right now. And that's not BS. I live there. I've been there for quite some time. And it's like it's the only place in Latin America where I can feel okay if my wife is out at like midnight with my child, basically in any street in the country. And then Ecuador, which is the opposite, it's not that safe. But my wife is Ecuadorian. Our child was born in Quito, so it's like I have to respect that. Even though I've just been like very frustrated with like police stopping me all the time and like, all right, pay up on the highways, and like we've had, yeah, cartels looking for me in the past, and
Oh
like,
God.
hey, we want to get this, and we actually have to slow down on one of our food farms until that kind of clears up. And just a lot of things, that I don't need to talk about like online, but there's things like mining for gold, and that's more powerful. What a lot of people don't know, like the mining for gold is more powerful than the cocaine industry right now, because $30,000 is a kilo of cocaine on the black market down here once it gets to the States. But a kilo of gold on the black market is $90,000 if you want to sell it to someone like China. And so it's become a very, very powerful industry. And in the jungle, there's a lot of gold, and that's where we have our food farms. And so we're kind of slowing down a little bit on our food production just for safety. And, I'm not talking out against any of that. Just kind of saying what it is. And yeah, I made a video the other day explaining why we've slowed down on food production, and our team advised that I don't upload it for car bomb
Mm.
reasons, which there's been a few around me.
And what's next? When you look ahead 5 to 10 years, what does the future of Murph's life look like?
Kind of to wrap up the sustainability is right now it's like we run our women's shelters, and we want to be able to expand that program because it's a beautiful program, not just for women, but we take in people who've been trafficked, we take in sexually abused children, we take in women who've been severely beaten. Like we took in a woman, it's almost like every month we get a woman with a machete hacked to the
Oh,
face, because in indigenous cultures there's a lot of alcoholism, and when they get really drunk and beat the wife, a lot of times the machete comes in hand. So it's like these are beautiful places where we take them in for 6 months, and it's like a program where we show unconditional love, we have therapists, but we teach them a trade so they don't have to go back to the abuser. And it costs money, so this is why we're really focusing on kind of taking all of our knowledge and all of our failures and experiences to be able to build Casa Conejo, which is in El Salvador. And it's like a 40-acre farm where we're building like a restaurant, a spa, a store, a little bar, a greenhouse, and it's all local employees working there. We're going to offer profit share, and then the rest we want it to be able to sustain women's shelters. And so that's kind of where we're focusing on now, is how can we build this first world microeconomy within a poor country, to be able to pay, like if we're offering profit share, and even for the homes that we're building now, we're building bungalows, hotel rooms just like this on top of their homes. And it's just really cool. It's pinned on my Instagram page on Murph's Life.
you have a beautiful roadmap. It's sustainable, it's on point, and it's philanthropic. And you're doing stay the course, stay the course. You guys are doing fantastic. Now let's talk about, without a doubt, you alluded to some hard moments, and we talked about mental health backstage. But
Yeah.
let's talk about the lessons and message to the world, because some of them are hard. You faced burnout, financial pressure, even criticism, yet you keep leading with heart.
Yeah.
What has been your hardest personal challenge throughout this entire journey? And what message would you offer someone listening right now who's at their own breaking point, wondering if purpose can come from pain?
For me, it's been like a roller coaster of fears. Because if it wasn't for my fear, I wouldn't have anything that I have today. I wouldn't have my family. I wouldn't have. And a lot of people look at fear and they're like, I need to push this out of my mind. But it's fear that can push us to the next stage. For me, I think my greatest thing right now is having to prove myself to strangers. It's even like when I read a negative comment, I want to be like, like explain like, oh, you don't understand, that's actually this, or we're not stealing. And it doesn't, I need to come to the point of, it doesn't matter. I don't need to prove myself to anyone. Like, I hold my value. I'm a beautiful person. I believe in God. It's for me. Like, I don't give what people think, and I really do, and every single person on the internet does, and most celebrities, and so that's mine. And if someone's at their like bottom breaking point, it's a beautiful opportunity. It's a beautiful moment where you can imagine like your life as a giant garden, but all of your fruits and all of your vegetables were filled with thorns and filled with fruit that was rotting and funguses. And now you've just cleared everything out. Your soil is fertile and you can plant a brand new garden.
You are amazing. Thank you so much for joining us today. I loved this conversation. I got emotional a couple of times, but I'm really proud of you. And I'm so glad that you joined us again.
Thank you. No, thank you for having me. It's been really nice.
And to everyone listening, you can be part of his ripple effect. You can follow him directly on the gram at Murf's Life. You could visit the foundation on the website at murfslifefoundation.com and see how one small act of giving can change an entire family's trajectory. And as always, thank you to our partners at Once Upon a Coconut, reminding us that true hydration starts with the heart. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Once Upon a Coconut.
Discover the refreshing taste of 100% pure coconut water that actually tastes great. Naturally sweet with no artificial flavors or added sugar. It's packed with electrolytes to keep you hydrated throughout your day. And with 10% of profits going to charity, every sip makes a difference. Pure taste, pure goodness. Experience nature's Gatorade. Visit Once Upon a Coconut or naturesgatorade.com.